The volumes are off. The video should be starting. Theoretically, has the video started on Substack? Better start on Substack. Let's see. Do we have video? Yes, we have video. We are videoed. Woo.
Let's do it.
Can never tell with Substack. It's so fidgy sometimes. Look, the peoples are here. The peoples are here. Hello, peoples. All right. Let's get the notes up. Da, 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 da. Hooray, all the peoples are coming. The peoples are coming. The peoples are coming. All right. Oh man, now that Stephen Miller is sending ice to my state, I'm gonna have to go and get a whistle.
Oh, is ice coming over? Is it coming to Virginia?
Yeah, no, the day. I mean, we'll talk about it in the show, but the day Abigail Spanberger got sworn in, which was Saturday, they started sending ice in. I mean, ice was already here doing stuff because they're all over the country, obviously, but they specifically sent them going to the whole door-to-door thing, which is still wildly illegal and unconstitutional. But they started doing that because now we have a blue governor and a fully blue legislature, and they're really, really mad about it. Yeah. Oh, Morgan's turning Stone Temple Pilots for us. Wow, that's a big deal. I mean, it's Stone Temple Pilots,
right?
Hi, Chim.
Yeah. Are we still prepping, or are we live?
No, we're live. Nice. People can see and hear us. Hello.
Oh. There's a kitty. There's kitty.
There's my kid. Don't, Chim, do not lay down here. Nope, don't do it. Nope, don't do it. You're going to do it, aren't you? Hold on.
I think you should do the show. I honestly think you should do the show like this.
No one wants to see Cat Tushy. Get out of here.
Well, I mean, it depends,
Yeah, this is not that type of show. Sorry, sweetie. Take a hike. Go cuddle with mommy in the back. She's not feeling good.
Oh, yeah.
She has the norovirus, so I'm staying very, very far away from her.
Ugh. Man, everybody's getting something, man. It's a good thing we've got
actually, Nick, this is Florida woman. She's just wearing a mask.
It's true.
It's a Frederick mask.
Yeah, it is. It really is Florida woman. She's, I'm just wearing a mask. I'll prove it. My team is awful, the Buffalo Bills, and I will keep cheering for them because I'm like a Dallas Cowboys fan, but less people care.
Wow. just the meanness, just the shade of it all.
What? That's not mean. That's therapy for me, Florida woman who has to, for some reason, lives in Florida and wants to cheer for the Bills.
I mean, she was originally from Buffalo.
I know. And I mean, but the thing is, that's the great thing about this country is you leave and go somewhere new. You can shed horrible things from where you grew up. Like you say, oh, well, that team, I didn't realize there were better teams out there than Buffalo Bills. Yeah.
Wow.
What?
Damn.
I'm gonna send her a Bo Nix jersey.
This is like toxic fandom all over the place.
What? It's not toxic. It is not toxic. I'm gonna send her a gift of a Bo Nix jersey. What are you talking about?
I mean, on those cold Florida nights, she'll have something to burn, I guess. Yeah, no, Fred is actually a sock puppet. He's got a hand up his ass right now. It's going to be Florida woman's hand. It's like the first time she ever meets him in real life.
Probably, and then and I'll be like, And it's just like a Bills fan to do that. Can't catch the ball because your hand's up somebody's butt. Yeah.
Oh my!
But
God.
it's so cold up there. They have to do that. That's pretty much what they do.
Wow.
You know? What? What did I say? I'm just telling you facts. I'm not being mean. You know.
All right. Shall we get started with today's show?
Let's do it.
Wow. Okay. This is the Opinionated Ogre Podcast, your weekly rampage to current events with a little snark, a bit of foul language, and a lot of strong opinions. There are new episodes every Thursday, and they're not safe for work or polite company of any kind whatsoever. I am your podcast host, the Opinionated Ogre, and this is my special co-host for the week, Frederick Pogue, filling in for the heartbroken Florida woman currently mourning the brutal overtime loss of her beloved Buffalo Bills to Frederick's equally beloved Denver Broncos. Hi, Fred.
Which we are also mourning with you, Florida woman, because Bo Nix broke a bone in his ankle on the second to last play in overtime. Oof. Yeah. So that was a terrible game for both fandoms. That was like awful.
That's like the definition of a Pyrrhic victory. It's like, yay, won, and lost.
Yes, yeah. It's like we got to the AFC Championship, and our backup quarterback's going to be playing. Like, unless he's Nick Foles 2.0, it's not looking good for us. You know. But I mean, there is some consolation. You know, we did get to watch Josh Allen choke on national television. So, sorry, Josh. I like Josh. You know. But yeah. Sorry, Florida woman. Maybe next year. Probably not.
Oh my God. Anyway.
There's always room in the Denver Bronco fandom. We will welcome you with open arms. You know,
I think she would rather shave her head.
She probably would. Bills Mafia, man, their fan base is actually pretty cool. Like, they really support that team, you know, and I would say it's tough being a Bills fan because, I mean, the crazy thing to think about the Bills, they went to the Super Bowl 4 times in a row and lost all 4 times. Like, just to get there is a feat it's amazing. And to go 4 times and lose all 4,
that would be pretty brutal. Again, this is why I do not watch sports. I would just be like, I just couldn't deal with the stress.
Here's the horrible part for us, right? Like, we got demolished by the Legion of Boom in Seattle. Like, I mean, it was just like one of the worst drubbings in Super Bowl history. And if we actually somehow managed to win the AFC game, which that's going to be tough, but we could. We're probably going to face the Seahawks, who just demolished the 49ers. And so, like, if that were to happen, if all of Denver would be, no, not again. We can't live through this again.
Well, thank you for joining us for Football Talk. That's our show for the week.
It's better than anything that's happening in politics, but I guess we're here for that, so we should get to that. You know.
All right. This is the recording for January 22nd, 2026. And we do have a lot to get to that is not football related on episode 82 of the OgPod. Are we ready to do this?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. Then let's get to it. It is time for the Ogre Nation News Update. Roar.
Do ogres roar? Like, I guess this one does. It's D&D. We can do what we want.
Exactly.
Right.
Like in our D&D campaign, right? You know, I'm playing with a bunch of teenage girls. When we first started, I asked them, it's like, okay, this is your world. Do you want sexism in it? It's a fantasy world. You can do anything you want. Do you want sexism? And they were all like, nope. Okay, then sexism does not exist in your D&D world. And we've been playing for over 2 years now. Yeah. And we have not done once the whole, oh, you stupid women, none of that nonsense. Like, all the bad guys have been perfectly respectful when it comes to women. So we have not done that at all in any way, shape, or form. And every time, like one of them even hints at it, the rest will go, no, there's no sexism in this world. We're not doing that. And, they police each other as well. It's very funny.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can have that if you want it.
That was one of the things when people were completely off the topic, when people were complaining about there's too much nudity, there's too much rape, there's too much misogyny in Game of Thrones, and people were like, well, that's just how it is. That's historically accurate. And someone else pointed out, there's fucking dragons in there.
Right. Yeah.
What are you talking about historically accurate? There's fucking dragons and there's undead ice zombies. It's a fantasy world. You literally could do anything you want. You could have it not be that way if you wanted to. It was like, that's a good point. And that's why I asked them. It's like, it's your world. We're going to play it however you want. And
you and I could probably go on, like, we could honestly literally do like an hour or two or more on this kind of stuff. Like, because you and I are both like huge fans of D&D and fantasy. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, the moment you put a fantasy element into it, you don't have to. It's like
the rules are whatever you want it to be.
Right. That was the big thing. It's like, well, in history they didn't have this. It's like, it's a fantasy world. Yeah. It's like, well, they didn't have black people do it. It's a fantasy world.
Yeah, that was like when people complaining. It's like, well, how could the Little Mermaid be black? Because she's a fucking mermaid and mermaids don't exist. She could be whatever the fuck she wants. It's like she could be purple. It doesn't matter. It's the only thing she had to have was red hair. I'm sorry. If you're doing a Little Mermaid, she's got to have red hair. Otherwise, it doesn't matter.
It really doesn't matter.
Past that, it's like that's the one requirement. She has to sing and she's got to have red hair. Those are the two requirements for the Little Mermaid. Oh, and she's got to have a fishtail. She's got to be a mermaid. That's it. Those are the requirements here.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man.
All right. Actually, we should do a D&D podcast one of these days.
Dude, we should. I would love
We definitely should. That would be fun.
That would be amazing.
Okay. All right. Let's get on to the show here. Main topics. It has been 1 decade since Donald Trump was inaugurated as the illegitimate president for a second time.
Oof.
Wait, did I say decade? I meant century. Century. It's been a century. It's been that long. January 20th, 2025, which was yesterday. We're recording on Wednesday. Tuesday was January 20th. It feels like several lifetimes ago. Back then, we were laying the foundation for a long-term economic revival. Unions were getting stronger. Workers were being empowered. Monopolies were getting kicked in the teeth. We were moving away from fossil fuels. Silicon Valley was under threat of real regulation for the first time. But you know what? Millions of fucking morons threw it all away because the price of eggs were too high. And trans kids they've never met and probably never will made them feel a little uncomfortable. And too many Latinos, my peoples, too many Latinos looked in the mirror and pretended to see a white person who would be safe when the white nationalists started to round up the bad immigrants. Now the economy is in shambles, which we'll get to in a bit, and ICE is still trying to trigger a riot so Donald Trump can declare an insurrection. So let us get to ICE's ongoing war against America. Right now, Stephen Miller's Gestapo is still in Minnesota trying really, really hard to push the state over the edge after murdering Renee Good 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, and things really aren't going too great for them in the North Star State. ICE has spent the last week slipping on actual ice.
Oh my God, those videos are delightful.
And aren't they amazing? It's like
it's so
balm for my withered soul, you know. And they look like, well, the incompetent fools that they are with their continuing campaign of terror. They've also kidnapped several members of a local Native American tribe, the Oglala Lakota, because, well, they look like Latinos, right? Funny thing, though, is after being told that these men are, in fact, Native Americans, ICE refused to release them. Now, you might be wondering how that would work since, Native Americans, by definition, are outside the jurisdiction of immigration enforcement. They were literally here before the United States was even a thought, or before the colonizers were even here. They can't be deported. I guess if you were to deport them, you'd let them go back home.
It's like, yeah, get out of here. Go back to where you came from.
Right, yeah. It's like, go back, 3 blocks down the street where you live.
It's like, oh, no, stop, please.
Right. So what is ICE doing? Well, it turns out the Oglala Lakota tribe apologize for me for mangling that name, will not allow ICE to terrorize their community. And since the federal government must have permission to enter and police tribal land, ICE is holding these men hostage. And we mean that in the exact meaning of the word, until the tribe agrees to allow ICE to police their land, which they have no legal right to do. Because like a freaking vampire demanding to be invited in is like they want to suck the blood of the innocent. Absolutely lawless. And every ICE agent has to be arrested and charged with a crime that any crime they've committed, or even some that we can just retroactively make crimes when this regime falls. What? I liked your article, from earlier this week that says we need to bring back the gallows.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. I'm serious. I know how to tie hangman nooses. I learned how to do that in high school. Oddly enough, someone had tied one on one of the curtains, and I sat there and I just took it apart slowly until I figured out how to retie it myself. And now I know how to tie hangman nooses. And I will volunteer. I will happily volunteer my time to tie hundreds and hundreds of nooses. I will sign them. I will put my initials on them. I will put a little OO. And then, when they're being hung, I will have the satisfaction knowing I personally tied the noose that hung a Nazi. And I will sleep like a fucking baby at night knowing that. It would make me happy.
I don't know if I'd be good at tying the nooses, and so I would defer to you on that. What I would like to do is just, make sure that they're set and everything's good, and then right before, I'd want to be the guy that would say to him, in the ear, mind the drop.
It's not the fall. It's the stop. It's the sharp sudden stop at the end.
And before everybody goes, oh, but that's not what we do, and that's not who we are. Is like, read Nuremberg, find out what happened to Goering.
Yeah, no, fucking Nazi. So while this is happening, Trump is threatening to maybe or maybe not invoke the Insurrection Act. A lot of people are freaking out because Stephen Miller has 1,500 active duty soldiers in Alaska being prepped for deployment. The common wisdom is that they're going to Minnesota. The question is, though, why the Army and not the National Guard? And why from Alaska? The less common wisdom, like Malcolm Nance, is not entirely sure that they're going to Minnesota. He thinks they're going to Greenland because troops in Alaska would be better suited for the bitter cold Greenland weather. Although one could say the same thing about Minnesota. So, I don't know. Now, a fascist attack on Minnesota would be better than starting World War III? Probably. And the military would make it harder for ICE to violently attack protesters since the military has better training and more discipline than the random Nazis that have been flocking to ICE. We're going to have to see what happens, if anything. We're not sure. But anything in this case would also include outside agitators trying to start a riot or fabricate one on social media. If you haven't seen it, some douchebag named Jake Lang brought his fellow little fascist wannabes to an anti-ICE protest explicitly to provoke a fight. Instead, he got doused with water in sub-zero weather and chased off. which I thought was fucking brilliant. Minnesota residents used water balloons and water guns to spray Nazis. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Absolutely hilarious. Yeah. It's apparently very effective to drench losers with water in freezing cold weather and watch them turn bright blue. It's funny, the thing that occurred to me, though, when I was watching this, that when neo-Nazis have their little marches, the cops always keep counter-protesters away. They protect the neo-Nazis. But whenever we march, the cops never keep the tiny dick fascists away. Never. They always let them come into the crowds. So why do they always get to push right into the middle of our protest and scream in our faces and shove into people and then pretend they're the victims? So does seem like a bit of a frame up. Either way, Lang, the big sobby baby, ran to social media to cry about how he was almost lynched and was so afeared for his life. Why, somebody tried to stab him, and if it wasn't for his body armor, he might have died. Please, Mr. Trump, send in the troops to save America. Please, also send me money, because I need money to make me feel less scared.
That was my favorite part of his post, is at the end he asked for money.
Yeah, it was like, it's always the fucking grift with these people. So it was such transparent propaganda. Even Barry Weiss at CBS would have been too embarrassed to run it.
I think you're giving Barry too much credit there, man. I think she just couldn't find a way where it's like, ah. And the interesting thing about that story too is like, who saved his ass from getting drenched even more and even more? A black man. A black man came up to him and pulled him out of there and got him as he was a big sobby baby. It's like,
Yeah, it's funny how often that happens.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the scenes from Louisville with the George Floyd riots where one of the police officers got separated and a ring of black men formed around the guy and, were basically protecting him till he could get back with the cops, but somehow, like you said, and I want to just also point this out real quick. You said tiny dick fascist. I don't know if it's tiny, if it's inverted, Does that count as tiny? Because tiny implies that there's actually some form of measurement. I think this is just, I think it's like a belly button, it's just an innie.
They've got innies.
Yeah. I wouldn't call them vaginas because
why insult women that way?
Well, yeah, and they're tougher than whatever these guys have. So, I think it's just a new form of biological genitalia, that we haven't discovered yet.
The Nazi penis.
It's an enis. It's an innie. It doesn't even have a P on it. All right. So, a week after Jonathan Ross murdered Renee Good, the regime is still trying to lie its way out of the mess that it's made. They promised to investigate Good's partner, which they're doing now. They smeared Good as a violent radical, which is absolutely ludicrous. They lied about what we could all see on the video, which is insulting. And it kept getting worse and worse for the fascistic fucksticks. In an act of desperation, they turned to newly minted propagandists at Barry Weiss CBS News to launder an absolute lie that Ross had been sent to the hospital with internal bleeding. That poor man. He's lucky to be alive. Good must have hit him so hard that he almost died. Maybe she wasn't so innocent after all. There were some immediately obvious problems with Weiss's CBS story. Sources were anonymous. There was no evidence, no hospital records, and it was the first anyone had heard of Ross being injured. Why did it take a full week? And where has Ross been in the entire time? To the surprise of absolutely no one, it turns out that Ross went to a federal building after the murder, not a hospital, and did not have life-threatening internal bleeding, because a bruise is technically internal bleeding. Maybe he did get an ouchie. It's unclear which part of the penal code allows law enforcement to kill someone over a boo-boo.
Generally speaking, you have to be black for that to work.
That's true. You know,
The cops are allowed to kill you, and if you're black and you give them an ouchie.
yeah, and black is kind of a broad term. That could be Native American, Latino, like, yeah. Weiss knew the story was basically dog shit. She's not a journalist and has never been a journalist, but even she had to know this was crap. She ran it anyway because her job is not to inform the public. Her job is not journalism or the news. It's propaganda to promote fascism. And as far as I'm concerned, she can fuck off right into the sun, into the center of the sun. Does the sun have a magma core? I don't think so, but it needs to be there, right in the core.
Now, we mentioned before that Stephen Miller has 1,500 soldiers on standby to maybe invade Minnesota if he orders Trump to invoke the Insurrection Act.
Yeah.
Miller and Trump have been aching to do this since the first Trump regime. The idea is to have the military move in and something seize control of America. A lot of people are really concerned that this is the end game for the regime. The military occupying blue cities and states and canceling elections. This is not how the Insurrection Act works.
Nope.
Even a little. The Insurrection Act allows the president to use the military as law enforcement, something normally strictly forbidden by the law. But even under the Insurrection Act, the military can't just do any fucking thing it wants.
Nope.
They can assist ICE by keeping protesters from blocking their way. They can create a buffer zone. They can arrest people violating federal law if any federal laws are being broken. What they cannot do is enforce local laws. They can't seize voting machines, and they absolutely cannot police polling sites. They also cannot seize control of entire cities. I know it's all the rage for the cool emo kids to talk online about how the military would just take over America, but it's really important to understand what that looks like.
Yeah.
America is a massive country. People don't really appreciate just how large this country is. We don't think about it because we live here.
Right.
We are the third largest country in the world, both by population and by size. We're fucking huge.
Yeah.
Just to take control of, for instance, New York City would require almost 90,000 troops, according to the population. And that's if New York City was being quiet. The number doubles if they start resisting. That's for one city. And we're already biting into a significant percentage of all the active members of the military. That's not including all the people we have deployed overseas and all the people who would immediately desert if Trump declared war on America. So, I mean, you're in the military. You have a better idea about this than I do.
Yeah.
Taking control of a city and holding it is not as simple as just showing up and saying, well, we control this city now. If the people say, fuck you, that gets really fucking hard to do.
I mean, you can look at how much trouble we had in Baghdad. That would be the best example. I mean, basically, like where we had the green zone, and when we moved within anywhere in the country or Baghdad, we had to move in force. And Petraeus, when he went in, how he, he's like, oh yeah, he pacified the country. And you know how he did that? He built these massive concrete walls, and they just walled off sections of the city, and then they created choke points. And that's how they did it. I mean,
and who's gonna fucking go for that here?
Right. And the other thing too is the best thing I heard from a European, like when they kind of understood, like, because the thing is, all Americans never travel abroad. And a guy was a Brit, and he said, man, you guys have to understand just how big America is. It's literally the size of Europe. It's huge. And they have oceans on both sides. It's like Americans don't travel abroad because they can't even they can't even see the whole of their own country.
Yeah, my daughter laughs about that all the time. She's like, man, when we travel up to New York, if I was European, that would have been traveling through 6 different countries.
Yes, absolutely.
She thinks that's hilarious.
I've been everywhere, man. Like, I'm like Johnny Cash, man. Aviation, I've been everywhere. There's still like 6 states I haven't visited, like the Dakotas and the Pacific Northwest, no, 3. Like, it's basically the Dakotas, and then I think Oregon, which I'm checking off here in a few weeks. That's how huge we are. Even 90,000 for New York City, I think good luck.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge.
Like 2 boroughs,
very
maybe
crowded,
3.
and it's really easy to get around.
Right. And the other thing too, and I know we're kind of, we're diving into this a little bit, is like, so what would be the point? You're kind of seeing that with ICE, right? It's like because again, with fascism, everything is spectacle and fear. Because what is the point of, like, and I'm not talking about ethical, and I'm talking purely logistics, right? What is the point of bringing a 60-year-old man out in sub-zero temperatures with hardly any clothes? What are they doing to actually push this thing forward? And if you try to do this across the country, you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it with 3 million troops. You just couldn't.
It's just about, for them, it's just about fear. It's just about ginning up hate. It's just about ginning up anger. And it's like, and Stephen Miller really, he is just lost in this bubble.
Yeah.
He's just absolutely lost in this bubble, right? Their whole regime, they're just delusional imbeciles. They live in a bubble of Fox News and Twitter, and they think they can tweet out orders to take over America by force. But, that's the internet, not reality. Yeah. And it's like, they don't seem to understand that you can't just grab a hold of a country, and just, especially a country this large, and be like, yeah, well, we just own it. We just control everything. It's like, well, okay, you're already the government. You already do control the country. You can't do it the way you think. You can't do it by force. It's not going to work. And you're definitely not going to be able to do it by fear. That's just not going to fucking work.
They're just grifters distracting us from, and they're horrible people. I think the thing is, like, to really understand the incompetence we're talking about is, you've got, like, go back to the pandemic and Jared Kushner, right? You have this entire apparatus that has been created, by presidents, and expanded upon for this eventuality. In comes Jared Kushner, and he says, oh no, we're going to do tech bro and do a startup, man, and just like ignore all that. And then my team's just going to divvy out to this. And it was a disaster. And hundreds of thousands of people died that didn't have to.
Right, because they're idiots.
Yes. Which Jared Kushner absolutely should have been prosecuted for, and still needs to be. Yeah. But I digress.
Well, yeah, and this is something that I point out in a lot of my articles, having to do with the way the regime is trying to run this country.
Yeah.
One of America's most foundational, and I say this all the time, one of America's most foundational myths about itself is that we fight and kill tyrants. Don't tread on me. War to the Tree of Liberty. Give me liberty or death. We've spent, at the same time, 3/4 of a century killing Nazis in every single form of pop culture imaginable. And that was after we were done killing them in real life. We love to watch Nazis die. The more violently, the better. We feel no guilt over killing Nazis because they're fucking Nazis. In a country with 400 million guns and a fetish for killing tyrants and Nazis, you have to be fucking suicidal to openly march under the banner of fucking Nazi fascism. But, good luck with that, master race. I'm sure it's definitely going to work out better for you than it did for the Third Reich. Good.
It makes me think, like, That's why they don't come out and say it. It's like, this is, forever and ago. But South Park kind of called this where Cartman got it was after the Passion of the Christ. And Cartman came out and was like, basically got the town goose stepping and, going to blame the Jews.
Oh, Jesus. Of course he did.
Yeah, like that. There was an episode with that early on, and it was about the Passion of the Christ. And that to me is what Christian fascism is. It's just like a bunch of, like, let's do this now. And it's like, you guys are fascist. No, we're just believers. Like, okay. Good luck with that, Yep, but let's move on.
Best of luck, guys.
Yeah. Let's move on to something a little cheerier. Specifically, the midterms. Trump seems desperate to stop, but has no realistic way of doing so, certainly not with the military. Sadly for the regime, things have gone from bad to worse. And as we mentioned before on the Og Pod, there's absolutely nothing coming down the road to make things better, and an awful lot to make things worse.
Yeah, seriously, for them, the light at the end of the tunnel is a train.
We just have to encourage them to stay on the track. It'll absolutely work out.
But you tell them getting off the track is woke. only woke libtards get off tracks when the trains are coming, and they'll be like, "No, I'm not doing that. I'm not woke."
Yeah. See that iron bar? Just stick your foot right under it, so that way you don't run. That is why the Cook Report, one of the leading prediction sites, like Nate Silver, but actually good at their job and not consumed by white boy resentment, moved 18 House races to the left. Of the remaining almost 20 seats that are considered toss-ups, Republicans would have to win about 3/4 of them to hold on to the House. But we have 9 more months of ICE violence, Trump starting wars all over the planet, and the economy collapsing. So we'll bet you a shiny nickel that a bunch of those seats are going to move from toss-up to lean Democratic.
By the way, I don't know if anyone has actually been thinking about this. It's almost February already.
Yeah.
The November elections were over 2 months ago.
Yeah.
I know 2025 felt like a century.
Oh my God.
But
yeah,
it's moving way quicker now. Like these last 2 months went by really, really fast. And we are less than 9 months away. Or I'm sorry, we're less than 10 months away from the midterms. Like it's barreling towards us at all the crazy shit that's happened already this year. And yet the midterms are still barreling towards us at high speed, which is very, very bad news for Republicans. They want time stretched out and slowed down so they can get a lot more terrible fucking things done. And people distracted and people blah, blah. Nope. We're all still talking about the fucking midterms and how bad it's going to be for Republicans.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
All right. Now, of course, the midterms don't really matter, right? Because Republicans are totally going to redistrict themselves a majority. Yeah. No, not really. We talked about Florida moving to steal 5 more seats last week, but not so fast. Florida did open a special legislative session, so because they're too cowardly to put redistricting up to a vote, because there's a real good chance they would lose.
Right.
Texas did the same thing because, again, they're afraid of their own voters. Indiana Republicans, on the other hand, said, nah, fuck off. We're not redrawing our maps. So no matter how much the regime stamped its feet and held its breath, and they've been working at this since August, they've been screaming at Indiana that they have to redraw their maps. They still said no. And J.D. Vance and Trump, they took to Twitter and they pouted and they're threatening state Republicans. And that went very, very badly for them because they were mocked to death for being big babies who didn't get their way. So boo for them. Virginia Democrats, though, with their newly elected blue state government, passed a constitutional amendment to put redistricting on the ballot. When it passes, and it will, despite the absolute torrent of money and propaganda from Elon Musk and other fascist billionaires that's coming this way, Democrats are going to pick up like another 3 to 4 seats. That means Democrats will have about 10 seats to the GOP's 15. And here's where I remind you, or here's where we remind you yet again, that the seats Republicans have gerrymandered for themselves are no longer safe, deep red seats. A lot of them are going to be vulnerable to a blue wave. And we're sure that's not going to be a problem in November. No way. No biggie. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Ignore the giant blue wave heading towards shore. Moo-hoo, ha ha ha.
I just real quick want to make an appeal to Elon Musk that I will absolutely, if you pay me $10 million, I promise I will come on here and tell my audience and the Oddpog Nation the truth about you. I make you that promise. I will tell the truth about who you are as a person. You know, and I'm sure it will sway people to a conclusion.
But he's such a great guy. He's so awesome.
No, I said tell the truth though. Yeah,
like he's the richest, loneliest, saddest man in the world.
I was like, you know, Elon Musk is the fascist of them all. And I will give you that title, Elon. I will give you the title of fascist. And that when the time comes, we will absolutely give you your just due for being the fascist that you are. Just don't read anything that Ogre wrote this week. And don't Google gallows.
You know? Don't worry about that. I'm sure he's never seen one of those for.
It's a fashion accessory for hell. You know. Sorry, folks. That's just a little. That's the veteran humor coming out.
We'll make sure he gets a gold-plated hangman's noose.
Absolutely. You know. But the House is not where the bad news for all the bad news for the regime is. One of Alaska's Senate seats is now in play, meaning the Senate is now very much in play. Former Rep. Mary Peltola, apologies if I pronounced her name wrong, announced her campaign to flip Republican Dan Sullivan's seat. It's an uphill climb, but Peltola is very popular. What is it?
Peltola
is very popular, and Republicans are growing more unpopular by the day. Can't imagine why. Combined with Ohio, North Carolina, and Maine, and the GOP's dwindling chances in Georgia, Democrats are in a good position to retake the upper chamber. That means no more judges, no more confirmations, no more looking the other way at Trump's lawlessness. Lots of subpoenas and nonstop hearings and investigations. Project 2025 will slow to a crawl, and they need to get it finished before 2028 if they want to stay in power forever. We'd feel bad for Republicans facing a complete wipeout in November, but you know they're fascists, so they can eat a bag of Nazi dicks. You know, actually, they can eat. I'll give them 2 bags. Let's give them 2. You know.
Wow, that is so generous of you. Is Elon Musk paying for them?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask him to pay for that, you know, and we're gonna get them the special delicacy of anuses, you know, the innies. We'll get them the innies. Yeah.
Are they like little Nazi penis donuts?
That's it. It's cocktail appetizers. You know,
it's a delicacy.
For them, it is. You know, and they'll look at it as like, oh my gosh, this looks exactly like Trump. You know, it's like, yeah.
So the midterms, all of this bad news about the midterms is why the regime is going to lose its fucking mind to keep this from happening. We all know it. Trump will be absolutely frantic to avoid getting impeached for a 3rd, possibly 4th time. He's still furious about being the only president with 2 impeachments. It's humiliating. He hates it. A 3rd, and possibly 4th one, will be beyond embarrassing, and his fragile little man-child ego will not be able to take it. But without staging a full auto coup, the regime cannot stop the midterms. Even with Stephen Miller's beefed up ICE, they don't have the manpower for it. Trump can rage and scream and hold his breath that the elections don't count, but he can't wave a magic fascist wand and make it so. The thing that we keep pointing out on the Og Pod is that a stolen election, and however they try to steal it, it
Right.
has to seem plausible. And there's no plausible way for Trump to steal or shut down elections in every blue state. There's no mechanism for Mike Johnson to refuse to seat 20 plus Democrats without everyone knowing they're stealing those seats. No judge, not even with this Supreme Court, is going to go along with that. We can't not have elections because Trump declared war on 3 different countries. We can't shut down voting places in Pennsylvania because of a fictional riot in Minneapolis.
Right.
Claiming voter fraud in New York City with no evidence won't invalidate all of the votes in New York State.
Nope.
That's not how any of this works. And it won't matter how loudly Elon Musk screams about it on Twitter, which I will continue to dead name until the last star burns out in the sky. The midterms are going to happen, and Republicans are going to get curb stomped.
I mean, they're gonna try to depress the vote, like in multiple ways. They're gonna try to suppress it, but
yeah, and even with days like, you know, they're gonna want to send ICE to polling places, and even that, a judge is gonna be like, absolutely fucking not. You cannot have ICE show up at polling stations.
No.
Fuck off.
Right? Yeah, it's like can't do it. You know,
because they're
and then you have to ask, why is ICE at polling stations? Well, we're trying to keep illegals from voting. Oh well, we already have that. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like they don't do that anyway. And if you can't. The people who show up to vote aren't illegal immigrants. There aren't undocumented immigrants. So you're not there to stop that. You're there to just harass brown people. You can't do that. Go the fuck away.
Well, and every state, has their own stuff. So
yeah, exactly.
But, yeah. So well, all right. So
let's move on. Let's move on.
On Saturday, it's like Trump rolled out his latest scam, which is the Board of Peace, because Trump is such a peace-loving man of peace and love. And did we mention peace? That he wants to create an international body that will manage conflicts, a united group of nations, if you will, to move on. Yeah, I know, right? It's like
I've never heard of such a thing. What a brilliant idea!
I wonder if he'll call it the Atlantic Charter to start out with. Oh wait, that's a deep cut for everybody.
maybe it'll be the League of Nations. He should call it the League of Nations. No one's ever thought of that before. Have you ever heard of this thing called the League of Nations? It's this new idea I came up with all by myself.
I saw a movie called A League of Their Own by Penny Marshall, but I've never heard of
the League of Extraordinary Oligarchs.
That's like so this united group of nations, if you will, they will move in and quiet things down and govern territories until a group of unaccountable rich people decide things are just the way they like it. It kind of sounds like Trump's Board of Peace is just poorly disguised colonialism. Also, there are reports that to join Trump's new clubhouse, there's a membership fee of $1. Of course there is. Of course. Like, why only $1 billion though? That's what kills me. It's like, is it an auto subscription? Can you turn it off?
Well, they want to keep out Vivek Ramaswamy.
Right.
He's not a billionaire. They want to keep him out. He's boring.
Right. I'm sure none of that money will end up in an offshore account under Trump LLC. The regime denies this is true, which means it absolutely is true, and that information wasn't supposed to get out to the press. Now they'll just restructure it to make it sound something obviously less corrupt, which do they know how to do that? I don't know. It's important to understand this for what it is. Trump, like all authoritarians, hates the United Nations. He would very much like to break it up, and serve his master in Russia. Because Putin would love nothing more than to replace the UN with an organized organization controlled by oligarchs. This is more of Trump's spheres of influence bullshit. Or rather, Russia, China, and Project 2025 spheres of influence bullshit. Because apparently Project 2025 was written by people that have a survey understanding of what went on before the United Nations. Because we all know Trump is too stupid to understand any of this. He's being told what to do. He's a fucking puppet, and he always has been, and he always will be.
Ugh. Absolutely. Now, personally, for me, now that Trump has gone full imperious colonial warmonger, I am going to be absolutely fascinated to watch the people who scream the loudest about how much they hate imperialist colonial warmongers when Obama and Biden were president get really, really fucking quiet. I know I harp on this a lot. I do. I know it's like a real fucking bugaboo for me. But this is no different than the gun nuts screaming about how they're willing to die to fight a tyrannical government until the actual literal thing they swore to fight appears. Then they all forgot why they were stockpiling guns for the last 40 fucking years.
Yep.
It's going to be the same fucking thing with these. I'm so against imperial colonialism. The United States is an imperial power, and I will resist it with, oh, you know what, man? I'm super busy right now. Let me get back to you. Right? The alt-left weaponizes language of resistance to oligarchy and imperialism to attack Democrats and only Democrats. Now that we really are a country run by a textbook imperialist oligarch, the alt-left is off busy washing their hair. Like, where the fuck is Jill Stein? Where the fuck are the screaming crowds vowing to die to stop American imperialism, which is Trump? They're all off taking a nap, waiting for the next Democratic president, just like always. So when these fucks crawl out of the woodwork in 2028 to tell you not to vote for any Democrat because something, both sides, ask them where the fuck they've been for the last 3 years, because I promise you, they're not going to have an answer.
Well, this will make you feel better because Anna Kasparian of the Young Turks came out just this past week and said, you guys, I was duped by the Trump regime.
Oh.
Take a breath. Take a very deep breath. I tell you what, before you have a full meltdown, let's move on to something even more cheerful. Scenes from a crashing economy. So, do I have good news? I have good news for you, Ogre. Are you on the phone to Florida woman saying you need to get on this get him out of here? Dude, that's what we're gonna see from the alt left. Is like, I was duped.
Oh my goodness, I had no idea.
Who could have seen this coming except for everyone that was paying attention? So Donald Trump appears to have forgotten about saving us, the poors, from the inflation he caused again, because he's threatening several European Union countries with increased tariffs if they don't hand over Greenland. He's starting at 10%, but it's pretty much guaranteed he's going to go up as EU continues to refuse the Mad King's demands. Trump followed his newest tariff idiocy he followed that up with an insane text message sent to the Norwegian Prime Minister where he cried about how he didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize. So now he's going to no longer be peaceful. Okay. It's like, give me Greenland. And why doesn't Denmark get to have it? And so what if the Europeans settled there centuries ago? I want it. It's mine. Mine. I loved it when he said, just because they landed there doesn't make they own it, which collectively all the Native Americans in the U.S. say,
really? Is that how that works?
You don't say.
When can we expect Manhattan back?
Right. It should be noted that Norway does not control the Nobel Peace Prize. So yelling at them is like yelling at the United States about who's going to win the Super Bowl.
Which
You
apparently will
could.
neither be the Bills nor the Broncos.
It might
Just
be the
wanted
Broncos.
to throw that out there.
It might be. It might. Well, it probably won't be. You could, but you'd sound like a freaking moron. Also, Greenland has been settled on and off by Europeans for over 1,000 years. But now, because Donald Trump is quite literally insane and suffering from severe dementia and possibly horrible incontinence, we'll have even more tariffs. The EU is going to retaliate, which the regime has threatened them not to, or else what? More tariffs, mean tweets, World War III, who knows? These people are both deeply stupid and even more deeply deranged. All of this will make stuff here absolutely more expensive. Why? Because Trump, the adjudicated rapist, doesn't know how to take no for an answer.
So King Ray Vet says, can't believe he's still talking about the Peace Prize. Good God, let it go, man. He can't. He'll never let it go for the singular reason that Obama has one and he doesn't. That's it. That is the only reason he talks about it, because he's mad that Obama got one and nobody gave him one, because as far as he's concerned, anything that Obama got, he should get two. And
yes.
That's it. That's the extent of it. That you don't have to look any deeper than that. That's
well, and I know King Ray, and you know, and King Ray knows that I always try to be candidly about my people, white people. And the thing with us that we feel deep down on our bones is, if a person of color gets one thing that we don't have, even though we have 99 other things out of 100, then we are now the victims and the martyrs. And how dare you?
We oppressed. We're so oppressed.
We are. We're supposed to have 101 out of 100. You can't. You might have one. We have to have 101 then.
Oh, and something I forgot to put in the notes. It slipped my mind at the time. Crying to Norway about Greenland is like Norway doesn't control Greenland.
It's like crying to the Baseball Hall of Fame because you had a bad meal at a Mexican restaurant. You know?
Yeah, it's like Denmark. It's Denmark and Greenland, not Norway. Denmark. So it's like, why can't I have Greenland? It's like, why are you talking to sir? This is a Wendy's.
Yeah, but I literally wish there was a smart ass EU official that says, does your American president understand that Denmark and Norway are two different countries? Like, we need to establish that first. Like, they're not the same country.
He can't point to either one of them on a map. If you label them, he wouldn't be able to point to them on a map because he doesn't know how to read. All right. To the surprise of absolutely no one but the regime, people know our crashing economy is absolute shit. More specifically, they know our crash economy is shit, and they know Trump is to blame. No matter how loudly the regime screams Joe Biden's name, they know who did it. This is from CNN. A 55% majority say that Trump's policies have worsened economic conditions in the country, with just 32% saying they've made an improvement. Most, 64%, say he hasn't gone far enough in trying to reduce the price of everyday goods. Even within the GOP, about half say he should be doing more, including 42% among Republicans and Republican leaders who describe themselves as members of the MAGA movement. It's important to understand that the 32% who say the economy is getting better are lying or delusional. These are people who will watch their car being towed away and their furniture thrown out onto the street because Trump's tariffs shut down the factory they worked in, and still blame a trans kid 5 states over while praising Trump's incredible leadership. Their last words as they starve to death or die in a hospital parking lot from the flu will be Trump 2028. These people are lost to us forever. But the rest of the country is steaming mad at what Republicans are doing. 58% say Trump's first year has been a failure. And wait until we get to the second year. It's going to be higher than that. This is to remind you, as we frequently do on this podcast, that the economy hasn't actually blown up yet. All the red warning lights are flashing. Steam is blasting out of the furnace. Bolts are popping off at an alarming rate, and the ground is shaking. The Silicon Valley and Wall Street bubbles are going to pop. And when they do, yikes. A competent government might be able to keep it all from exploding. Maybe. But we do not have one of those. Nope. They are maliciously incompetent and have every intention of pushing the economy into a free fall and then using the economic emergency to gut more of the government and give themselves more emergency power. We've talked about this a lot. And we will continue talking about it. Batten down the hatches. It's going to get really, really bad, and you really should prepare as much as you possibly can.
I want everyone listening to keep this in mind about our Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, because this is really important. Whenever he says anything,
he's a moron.
No. Well, it kind of, but you really want to keep this in mind. He ran a hedge fund during the Biden years that lost 90% of its value when there was record stock market growth. Just keep that in mind. That's how good he is at finance. Ran a hedge fund, 90% of its growth, when literally all you had to do was stick it in the NASDAQ fund, you would have made 25%. Record profits. That's the guy running the Treasury. Meanwhile, Trump, the populist, is still hard at work for the tech bros.
Yay!
In a normal world, this story would be welcome news. The federal government is at least trying to slow down the spiraling cost of electricity in the Northeast, but we don't live in that world. The actual story is that the tech fucks are building too many energy gobbling up data centers to fuel their doom race for an AI god that will make them immortal. And yes, that is the actual reason they're doing this, not because they believe AI will be a net positive for the world no matter what they say, but because it will be a net positive for them personally right now. The data centers consume so much electricity, they are driving up the cost for everyone. Now, Trump doesn't care that you and I are paying more, but he does care that his good friends in Silicon Valley are paying more. So he wants to help them because the rest of us can just fuck off. Of course, we were building plenty of wind and solar to help meet the increasing demand, but Trump and the GOP hate renewables and gutted hundreds of projects just to stick it to Joe Biden and make the libs cry. Very typical move to shoot yourself in the foot to own the libs, but that seems to be their policy now. I find it funny they're building AI data centers with AI that increasingly lies to them and makes stuff up. Fascinating.
I mean, that's kind of what they want. Trust me, we can talk about the whole AI bubble and how AI is not actually going to do it. The whole AI thing, one of the reasons AI bubble's going to pop is because it's becoming increasingly clear that AI does not work the way they think it does or the way they're saying it does.
Nope.
And when that really penetrates into the popular understanding, that bubble's going to pop so fucking hard because they have to start over from scratch. Like the large language models do not work.
No.
They just don't. And they have to. I mean, someday we'll be able to make AI the way they think it's supposed to work. It's not impossible, right? It's not beyond all capacity. Of course, we're going to be able to make that someday. Just not the way they're doing it now, which means they have to start over. They have to go back to R&D, and all the money that they're pouring into it right now is just being set on fire. And that really, when they finally admit that's what's happening, kaboom. And the economy is going to go with it. And that's going to be really fucking bad for everybody, especially people like us.
So, Oh, yeah. It's just, no.
All right. Let us move on to headlines for short attention spans. We started this week's show with a quick mention of Trump's first year in office. The orange pile of rat-infested pig shit held a press conference on Tuesday to pat himself on the back for a job well done for this last year. At least that's what it was supposed to be. What it actually turned into was 90-plus minutes of a creepy old sexual predator suffering from severe cognitive collapse, babbling about whatever random thing caught his attention from minute to minute or second to second. Now, I didn't watch his press conference because I never watch Trump press conferences. I don't need to. He's been mentally unfit for office since the early 2000s, excuse me. But this one was bad, even by Trump standards. The word I've seen most frequently used to describe it is incoherent. Now, considering Trump is incoherent on the best of days, that's really saying something that this is what everyone is stressing first. Incoherence, low energy, and just all over the fucking place. No one who watches even 5 minutes of this can sleep comfortably knowing that this dementia patient has access to the nuclear codes. Amazingly, this full display of total cognitive collapse was not on the front page of the New York fucking Times or the Washington Post. Allow me to remind you that in the 3 days, just 3 days after Joe Biden had a shitty night on the debate stage, both of those papers and the Wall Street Journal wrote upwards of 100 articles demanding to know if Joe Biden was still fit to be president and insisting he step aside.
Yep.
Trump just spent close to 2 hours, 90 plus, close to 2 hours, falling apart in front of the world in a manner that would have anyone else put into an assisted living facility for their own protection. And the legacy press, which is already questioning Trump's health, sometimes just looked the other way. Republicans are not held to a lower standard. They're held to no standard at all.
Nope. Not even a little bit. Not even close.
It's fucking amazing.
If you're familiar with it, Stars and Stripes is an independent military newspaper founded during the Civil War that covers, surprise, military news. For obvious reasons, it's very popular with active service members and veterans. Since the 90s, Stars and Stripes has been editorially independent of the Pentagon, a move mandated by Congress. Well, the regime doesn't like a free press, and they really don't like the First Amendment. So they are illegally seizing control of Stars and Stripes. They're going to get rid of the woke distractions, meaning no more reporting on women service members or Black or Latino service members, and absolutely none of that LGBTQ stuff. It's going to be all about manly warfighting and how awesome America is. Hoorah! War fighting and push-ups and, pull-ups and whatever else they think is a military. It's important to understand
raw meat.
It's like, dairy and beef. And it's important to understand that fascist regimes die without a constant flow of propaganda, and this regime is not even trying to hide it anymore. So, yeah, Stars and Stripes. Awful, But, I mean, look at what they've done with the VA, so this isn't a surprise.
Not even a little.
Nope.
All right. A quick update on the Epstein files. It's now a month past when the files were supposed to be released, and Trump's infinitely corrupt Department of Justice is just straight up refusing to obey the law. They're being sued in court, and the totally innocent regime is fighting tooth and nail to keep the files buried. We predicted that, or for 2026, that the Epstein story was not going to go away, and in fact, it was going to get worse. It doesn't matter how many wars and riots Trump starts. He's a fucking pedophile, allegedly, according to Florida woman. She always makes me say that. And we're going to get those fucking files sooner or later.
What's funny is, like, I got a lot of friends that every time something horrible comes out of the regime, their response is always, my God, those files must be horrible.
They absolutely must be. I mean, just think about it. Jeffrey Epstein, absolutely, 100%, guaranteed, has video of him raping a 14-year-old.
Probably, yeah.
and not even like an adult looking 14-year-old. Like I've known some 14-year-olds that look like they're 18 or so. He didn't want one of those. He
No.
wanted one that looked like they were 14 because, if they look like an adult, what's the point? He can have sex with adults. He wanted a kid who looked like a kid, specifically like his daughter, because he's a fucking pervert. So, his whole thing is he's got his MAGA base who they have been trained to despise pedophiles. And there's going to be this video of Trump raping a little girl. And they can't look at that and go, well, I hate pedophiles. I want to murder every pedophile in the world except for this one. There's no squaring that circle. That's why he's so desperate to keep this hidden. It cannot be justified. There's nothing they can do. It's like, oh, it's he did it in the name of God. That you cannot justify it, and it will destroy everything and everyone around him. So they're all protecting him.
Yeah, here's why I think they will justify it. I think what it'll do though is for the rest of us, we'll stop trying to pretend that people that justify it are good people, and they're just misled. That's what'll happen is we'll look at them and go, "You're justifying this? All right, you're sick. Get over there. We're gonna go handle this. Like you get over there.
I mean, the evangelicals will justify it. They'll just say it's biblical, right? Because they're already doing that. But ones, the screaming, we hate pedophile ones, I don't think they're going to backtrack.
Oh yeah, they're not going to. I mean, they'll have a choice at that point, and it's like, you got a choice to make, But back to the theme of misusing government resources, Axios reports that the childish rebranding of the Department of Defense as the Department of War is going to cost upwards of $125 million. If it gets forced through Congress, it will cost hundreds of millions. Remember, Republicans are fighting against renewing the ACA subsidies because, quote, America's broke. Can't fund Medicaid because America's broke. Meals on Wheels, free school lunches, and breakfast for hungry kids. Can't do any of that because America's broke. No money for the sick and hungry, but unlimited funds to make America sound tough and manly. These are the most insecure, tiny dick losers to ever run a country, and the fact that they keep calling themselves Christians is an insult to Christianity. Department of War. Oh my God.
Like, so pathetic.
Seriously, man. Like, it's that's just, it's like my, it's yeah. I've had to serve under people like Pete Hegseth, and it is just, it's as infuriating as you could imagine.
I wouldn't want to imagine. So, in a surprising turn of events, Trump is less war hawkish on Iran.
Oh. What?
Yeah. Mr. I deserve a Nobel Peace Prize was all set to bomb yet another country in the name of peace, but then he backed down. The reason is actually not all that surprising. All the people Trump actually listens to about the Middle East, which is Israel, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, etc., told him that bombing Iran will not lead to regime change, right? If you're still catching up on current events, Iran just went through a really, really messy internal revolt. There were huge, massive protests, and thousands of people were executed by the regime to suppress it. We don't know how many, but there were reports that upwards of 20,000 people were killed by the regime.
Wow.
We don't really know for sure, but that's like, the upper estimate. The lower estimate's like 3,000, but either way, it was a lot of people. So Trump jumped into it and was like, free Iran, help the Iranian people. And he was threatening to bomb Iran to help, overthrow the regime. But he was told by the people over there, don't do it. It's not going to work. And it might actually entrench the government and make it harder to remove. The result of the U.S. lobbing missiles would also most likely be a regional conflict that none of the other countries were prepared for.
No.
Trump likes fast results and easy wins.
Yes.
Anything else is boring and too much work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's just the way he is. Bombing Iran sounded like fun until it wasn't. Then it was boring and hard, at least until someone, probably Netanyahu, tells him it'll be fun and easy again.
Right.
Then we'll bomb Iran. But this is why bombing Venezuela and kidnapping their president, we did that because it was quick and easy.
Mhm.
Invading it would be hard and boring. So that's not going to happen. Bombing Cuba might be fun, but an invasion would not be quick and easy. Could be, but they have a lot of guns there. So probably not that easy. Invading Greenland would be super easy and so much fun, except the French and the Germans and the Norwegians and a bunch of other people have moved a bunch of troops over there. They keep sending more. They're doing it for a military exercise, but they're doing it explicitly to make sure the United States does not invade Greenland. Because that means it would be a real fight, and that would not be quick and easy, and that's no fun. So, cue the sound of Trump throwing another temper tantrum. Trump's inherent laziness and stupidity make him incredibly dangerous, but it also keeps him from being a real threat like Russia or China. Let's hope that President Stephen Miller doesn't take full control of the government and kick off World War III anyway.
Right. As Republicans cry big, sobby tears about protecting women from the scourge of trans kids playing sports or using the bathroom, they're doing everything they can to make women less safe in schools and on campus. The AP reports that the empty husk of the Department of Education, gleefully hollowed out by the regime, has barely opened any investigations into sexual violence since last March. Instead, they're using all of their remaining resources to persecute a handful of trans kids, leaving a backlog of over 25,000 cases of sexual assault. So really, it's not about protecting women. It never was, and it never will be.
These fucking people. All right, let's wrap this up on a high note / some mixed news. As we mentioned earlier, on Saturday, Abigail Spanberger was sworn in as Virginia's first female governor after absolutely crushing her bigoted piece of shit Republican opponent in November. Her first executive orders, all signed on day one, centered on affordability, healthcare, housing, education, and more. But it was the last one that was a giant fuck you to Donald Trump. Spanberger rescinded Trump bootlicker Glenn Youngkin's executive order for Virginia law enforcement to work with ICE. That's all over now. Unsurprisingly, the same day Spanberger was sworn in, the regime sent ICE to invade Richmond, which is the capital of Virginia and in central Virginia. They're doing that with the illegal door-to-door searches. I talked about this online. I'm sure Stephen Miller would love to invade Northern Virginia, which is right outside of D.C. This is the other, Virginia has two deep blue parts, Northern Virginia and Richmond.
Yep.
But a lot of people who work in D.C. live here in Northern Virginia, including Supreme Court justices, their families, and hundreds of loyal fascists working for the regime. ICE won't know the difference when they start lobbing tear gas at cars, and we can't have Clarence Thomas being murdered by a white nationalist who just sees an elderly black man he wants to shoot for fun. That doesn't mean all of Northern Virginia is safe. There are immigrant communities that ICE can and almost certainly will target, including my old neighborhood where my kids grew up and went to elementary and middle school. And I really do worry that their schools are going to be targeted by Miller's Gestapo. We're going to have to see what happens. In the meantime, it's good to know that overall, the state is going to stop helping ICE and undo the Republican fuckery of the last 4 years.
So, We're on to self-care of the week. What was my self-care of the week? Well, my birthday was last Saturday. So my birthday always kind of rolls into
Happy
MLK.
birthday.
Thank you. Also, it rolls into Martin Luther King Day. So I always have that weekend, My self-care was I have a cat named Momos who is like 7 months old, and I have a video game system. And
Kitty.
Momos has taken to where he will sit with me while I play video games. And this is my first time as like a cat dad, or really like having an animal that's mine, you know? And I gotta say, I love it. And I love it. And he fetches like he'll fetch things. So he likes to fetch these little mice, like I have to toss them, and he'll bring it back like a dog. And so we'll play fetch and that, and he likes plastic straws. He wants to fetch plastic straws. Like, I'm like, okay.
The mystery that is cats.
Right. And he's just like zoom, zoom, zoom. He just, and I'll be playing the game and I'll feel like a little toy mouse just boop drop on my shelf on the couch. And it's like, and if I don't grab it, he'll like hit me with a paw, like, hey buddy, come on. We're playing fetch. My sister's dogs don't play fetch. He plays fetch. Like I'll be lucky if I could get the Jack Russell Rocky to actually fetch something and bring it back and then give it to me one time. No, after that he's like, throw it. I'll throw it, and then he'll just veer off and he won't get it.
It's like, oh, I'm too excited. Bye. Whee.
But Momos, I mean, it could be 30 times and he'll just keep going. Like he didn't care. He loves it. So that's my self-care.
Yeah, no, I trust me. I get that. That's the we saw when I posted on Substack. That's the nightly ritual. I'd lay in bed, play video games, and the cats both curl up on and next to me. It's like, okay, you're in bed, plop. It's like, all right, well, here we go.
It's like, yep, video games and kid and a cat. It's like, I was like, this is actually awesome. I love this.
All right. For my self-care of the week, I took the Ogre family to see Stomp at the National Theater in DC on Saturday. A fun fact about DC, there are multiple venues that run Broadway and off-Broadway productions. Now that Trump has ruined the Kennedy Center, all of those shows are just going to shift to other locations. So I look forward to being able to see Hamilton sometime in the next year or two, regardless of Trump's fuckery. Yay. Anyway, this was a Christmas gift for Mrs. Ogre, who does not get to go to the theater very often. Musicals aren't really her thing, so I usually just take Anastasia and Lila, although I don't take Lila as much as I used to now that she's a grown woman of all of 18 and far too busy for such things. But if you are somehow not familiar with Stomp, which has been around for like 35 years, it's not a musical in the sense that people sing. No one says a word from beginning to end. There's no singing. There's no dialogue. There's no story to speak of. It's a group of people making music with household items and trash, literally. One of the numbers is done using garbage cans and garbage can lids. It's a lot of fun. And Mrs. Ogre loved it. This was Anastasia's second time seeing it, but she enjoyed it just as much the second time. And Stomp also happens to be absolutely perfect for Jordan. With no dialogue or story to follow, it's just movement, sound, and physical comedy, which is right up his alley. He stayed engaged the entire time, which was awesome. We bought him a pair of drumsticks at the merch table before the show, and he was tapping them during the drum parts. Fortunately, everything was so loud, no one could hear anything he was doing, and we were in the front row of the balcony, so there was no one for him to tap on the head by accident. But overall, it was a great afternoon in the city run by fascist shitheels who will all soon be in jail, dead, or fleeing the country. But it was great. We had a great time, and if you ever get a chance to go see Stomp, definitely do it.
Love it. I love that. Dude, that's awesome, man. I've never seen Stomp. Like, I want to see Stomp and the Book of Mormon. Like, those are the two that I want to go see.
Yeah, Book of Mormon's playing later this year. I think at the same place. I think it's at National Theater. So I'm hoping to take Anastasia because she will get quite the kick out of it. I know it's supposed to be very, very funny. I just haven't. It's been out for years. I just haven't had a chance yet.
Right. Nice.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. All right, that is it for today's show. The Opinionated Ogre podcast, like the newsletter, is free and 100% supported by you, our amazing audience. We have no advertisers or sponsors, so please consider becoming a paid subscriber for only $5 a month or just $50 a year. If you'd prefer a one-time donation, we now have a PayPal button for your convenience, which I'm going to put up on the screen and then edit this out that I just said that. La, da, 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 da. That's what editing is for. Ta-da! You can also help by giving us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcast or wherever you're listening. Help others join the Ogre Nation conversation by sharing the OgPod on whatever social media platform you are using. You can find me at the Opinionated Ogre on Substack, Blue Sky, and also on TikTok. Mr. Pogue, where can our beloved audience find you?
You can find me also on Substack, Blue Sky, and TikTok and YouTube, all under the same name, Frederick Pogue. On Substack, it is Missives from a Middle-Aged Man, but everywhere else, it's just Fred Eric Pogue. That's where you can find me.
Excellent. All right, there are 284 days left until the most important midterm elections in American history, and that time will fly by faster than you can possibly imagine. The regime is kicking off a new disastrous trade war with Europe because it's weak. In November, we will show them just how fucking weak they are. Remember, you are not alone. There are millions of us, so stay strong. We beat the fascists once, and we will fucking do it again. Adios. All right, everybody. We will see you next week. Bye. That's not what I wanted to do. Oh, wait, yes, it is.